Hi, this is Russ with DevotedGolfer.tv. I'm here with Eric Burch. Eric Burch is Club Conex. And I think this is the hottest product of 2015. When did it actually launch?
Well, Russ, we've been working on this particular product, this UniFit line now, for roughly 30 months. We had it briefly at last year's show. Although we didn't exhibit, we did bring it down here and show it to some of our top customers just to let them know that the product was going to be introduced. We started to gain a lot of popularity.
Before we get too long,
Sure.
or too far along in this, and I want to keep going down the line, but let's explain what this is. This is a Callaway tip.
Correct.
This is a Cobra tip.
That one is actually a ping.
Okay, that's a ping tip. This is a TaylorMade tip. This is a Titleist tip. This is a Tour Exotics tip.
Correct.
And this is the tip that fits on the shaft. There's one of them right here. And I can take this shaft tip and put it into this and put this in this TaylorMade head. And I'm ready to go. And I can do that with any of these heads. How many heads now?
We have 13 different fitting tips that will fit roughly 54 heads between all the major adjustable drivers and fairways.
So every adjustable driver and fairway, practically, right? And,
for the most part.
And the every just means you haven't gotten to it yet.
Correct. Yes,
Yeah,
correct.
yeah. One tip, any head.
Mostly.
Yeah, you know what's really exciting about this from a fitting prospect is the head pro at the range that I work at, and we have all of the fitting carts. He's saying, now it actually makes sense for me to invest in a premium line of shafts because I can use them in all the carts. And that was always a reservation in the past. Well, you know, I fit 8 brands. It doesn't make sense. So
I agree 100%. It's cost prohibitive. As you know, Russ, we've got a small booth here at the show this year, and we brought down 25 of what we feel are the hottest shafts out between 4 of our customers that we work with that are all premium shaft manufacturers. And we did the math on it. With the heads that we brought, the tips that we had available, with the 25 shafts, for argument's sake, let's say they were $100 per shaft, $2,500 in our shaft matrix, times 10 if you wanted to fit each SKU.
I get it. Yeah. You don't have to explain that.
I know,
Russ.
Russ, you've been a great supporter of ours for many years now, and we certainly appreciate it. But yeah, it's a cool product. We've definitely gained a lot of momentum with the shaft makers and top club fitters with the product. Our next step is to figure out a way to implement the product to avid golfers. Somebody has a ping driver per se this year. The hot new TaylorMade driver comes out next year. Maybe they don't want to invest in a $300 or $400 shaft again with a new tip.
That's what my friend Laith Anderson is talking about. He's saying, hey, the guy shows up with his head.
Right.
You just pull out the adapter and you're fitting the shafts right into his head, and if he wants to leave with it, fine.
Sure. Oh,
right?
Absolutely. Because let's face it, 90% of golfers are avid golfers, recreational golfers. Although they don't play, amateur events, they may, and the policeman scramble or what have you. But they're not playing a lot of tournament golf. But our position is, from the feedback we've gotten from some of the shaft makers who are using it out on tour, is there's a market for this.
That's a point. This is out on tour.
Yeah, one of our shaft makers, or one of the shaft makers that we work with, rather, have been using this out. Doing fittings on tour and doing a lot of.
So he walks up with his shaft and he wants a player to play it, and he's got a TaylorMade head. He doesn't have to run back to the TaylorMade van and get a tip put on it.
Correct.
And bring it out. He just pulls out this one, right? He
Sure.
pulls out the TaylorMade tip and says, "You want to try the shaft?"
Exactly right. Yeah. Essentially, what we've done with this product
on
is,
tour.
Yeah.
Tour tested.
And it's funny because the feedback that we've gotten from this particular individual, he said that that the players out on tour are like, hang on a second, what do you mean? I can actually take that shaft now and pull it out of, and they may be sponsored by TaylorMade or what have you. I can pull that out, and how's that Callaway work? So it's funny. So you really have a lot of options, and that's our big thing. You know, we've been doing the adjustable pieces since 2004. We've never really married our pieces to be specific for a manufacturer. Although we've either licensed or have lent in design to several of the manufacturers, our big play is we want to make fitting as easy and as accessible as possible for the consumer, for guys like yourself, and I believe we've done that with this product. It's we worked on it for a long time.
There's a backstory here, right? I mean, some of these might even be lighter, this piece and this piece, this is a shaft tip. So this combination is either the same weight or in some cases lighter.
Yes.
Than the original adapter.
This is true. One of the reasons
you bought your own milling machine to do that, didn't you?
Yeah, we did. We just like much of the world that or business owners, eventually, you start to grow. You go through growing pains for sure, and
maybe some quality pains along the way.
We did. It's just obviously, as you know, if you want it done right, as the old saying goes, you have to do it yourself.
Do it yourself. Yeah.
And without having an engineering background, most of my devotion to this business has been trying to figure it out. I'm a guy that when I put my mind to something, although it may take me longer to get from point A to point B, I always seem to get there. And roughly 24 months ago, we decided to buy a brand new CNC lathe. When it dropped on the floor of my shop, I didn't know a whole lot about it, although I had taken some classes. And
was the floor of your shop sufficient to hold it?
Oh yeah, we've got room. Yeah. We've got a nice size shop, a warehouse facility, little showroom in front that has a lot of the different shafts with our tips. Although we don't fit golf clubs anymore, we certainly have a pretty good shaft matrix there. Most of my time spent back there actually making chips off the machine and fooling around. And it's great because we had a disconnect for a long time when I had something that was conceived and I wanted to bring it to market. Even though you might have a 2D or 3D drawing that you would present to the manufacturer, it's hard to convey what you want done, and then it drives the price of the product up because the time frame to get it implemented takes a little longer. Mm-hmm. And now I can just go back and literally, as soon as you can, how you would cut and paste a file on your computer for a Word document, I can literally have a new program for a piece I know we talked about a Mizuno piece, and by the time I got them in my hand, you'd already designed it. Yeah. It was funny how you mentioned that. We did the Mizuno piece and the new Tour Edge piece literally in 2 days. Because all the programs, all the footprints of the pieces are pretty similar, so you can use a lot of features from a milling program that you on one that you can on the other, and then it's just changing some numbers. So it's fun. I enjoy it. I've been more amped up to go to work every day now than I've ever been. It's fun to get back there and actually see a piece being made, and then you have the physical piece in your hand. So I enjoy it. It's been a great experience.
So on the endorsement side, and I don't often mention my competitors, but I will in this case, Cool Clubs bought everything. I mean, you pretty much sold out for a few minutes here. Yeah, they did. They've been
thousands. They've been a supporter of ours for a long time. Have used some of our other products, our FazFit. They've used on their hybrids and also on fairways, and then they were using our FuseFit piece on their irons. And in talking to Mark and Don there with their company, we thought that as they start to grow and continue to grow, that the UniFit would just be much easier to implement. And as you mentioned earlier, the weights are so consistent by comparison to the OEM sleeves, performance-wise, no discernible difference.
We tested them the other day. Yeah. Absolutely could not tell them apart.
No, you really can't. We took a long time with this product, and essentially all we did is build a sandwich. It's the same footprint as the original sleeve, but it's a sleeve within a sleeve, so it allows you to.
And you used ultra lightweight material.
Yes, some of the pieces
in order to accomplish this.
Sure. A majority of the pieces are 70-75 T651 aluminum, which is like a high quality aircraft grade aluminum, and then in order to get that black finish on there, they're anodized. Some of the other pieces are titanium, some are made from stainless. Really, we took the approach when designing this product that not not one material would work for all of them. We really had to look at the piece individually and make that decision based on wall thicknesses, how it engaged into the head. So it's great. That's the ability that we have with having the machine on the floor, whereas in the past we didn't. We had to trust our manufacturer, and although most of the times they got it right, sometimes they would get it wrong.
Yeah, and so I don't know if we mentioned this before. How many different heads are you in now? 15, 16?
We have 13 different UniFit hosel adapters is what we call them, which basically will fit in pretty well every major manufacturer's adjustable head. The only 2 sleeves that we don't have currently would be for the new 2015 Wilson release and also the new Bridgestone release. But I anticipate.
So you have those next week, right?
If things go well. but reasonably, our goal in what we've been quoting for those particular pieces is before the Masters we'll be flush on inventory.
Yeah.
You probably will have prototypes, I would say, literally within probably 14 days.
Yeah. So I've used these, and what you basically do, I take the wrench and I push out the manufacturer's
old screw.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then go for it.
We actually make a tool for that. It's part number 2336, and we started to. The way I used to do it was with I would take a Bic pen, and I would pop it out, and then I would pop the pen part out, and use that to place the new O-ring in. Because as you know, sometimes the rubber O-ring wears out in there, and then the screw falls out.
Right. Yeah. And so it's just a matter of using the correct color-coded screw for that particular head design and sleeve. And
correct. Yeah, we do
them all.
We have 5 total screws. They're all titanium, and then they're plated, color-coded. There's a silver screw, which is not plated, and then we have blue, gold, pink, purple, and green. And essentially, all you do is, like as you mentioned, pop their screw out with the tool. You would drop our O-ring into position, reinsert our tool to center the O-ring, and then you use our wrench and our screw, and you just simply push it through the O-ring, and now your screw is in position where it doesn't fall out. We use actually a clear plastic tackle box and or like a bead container to keep our little pieces in, and you simply just grab the right piece, drop it in, and off you go.
I saw a few of them out on the range on demo day.
Yeah. It will probably get to the point where we come up. We're actually working right now. Hopefully soon we'll have a container where the wrench fits in neatly. Each particular hosel piece fits in neatly. Comes in with the screws that ship with each hosel piece, and then some additional just in case for whatever reason one gets lost.
Yeah. Put some color coding on the top of it so I know which screw to use with which adapter.
Yes, we'll numerically identify each particular piece, or possibly put a picture or some type of coding in short to have it specific by manufacturer. For instance, on the ping, although we couldn't put their name on the piece, we may put PI or P or something along those lines.
So I've used this for years, and I think this is one of the best iron fitting opportunities for a club fitter. And some of your early stuff I've used, but when this came along, the strength of this,
sure,
and my ability to weight match with this,
sure,
are just what I do when I use this. This is a fuse fit adapter,
correct,
and this goes over the hosel. So if you're building out your fitting kit, what I do is, I happen to know these 3 pieces weigh approximately 11 grams.
Right.
And if I cut 5/8 of an inch off the top of the hosel,
exactly,
I'm pretty close.
You're very close. That's exactly the same number we use in-house for not only the fuse fit product, but for our fast fit as well. And you're right, it removes just about the right amount of weight.
And if you don't have enough out, you just put a drill into the hosel and take a little extra weight out, and now you are
right on point.
Right on, and it's shaft tip to bottom of hosel, and there's no difference because the 11 grams that you took off the hosel, you just put back.
Exactly.
And it's exact. You haven't changed anything. You haven't changed the balance of this head. Durability is forever.
Yeah, you can't break that product. It's really kind of a unique design. Everything we used to do, we were as designers, whether you're been an engineer for 30 years or 3 days. You get a train of thought, and you typically stay along that train. So everything that we had, we were thinking, well, just epoxy inside the hosel. So when I was developing the FuseFit product, I thought, there's got to be a way that we can get the shaft into the head, still maintain the universal aspect that is truly Club Conex, and yet give fitters the same opportunity that they have in an OEM cart. So the unique thing with FuseFit is it comes in a plurality of different sizes based on what the outside hosel diameter is.
Yeah, and you get close, and then you just sand the hosel to get a nice tight fit.
Absolutely.
And glue it up, and she's good to go.
She's good to go. Yeah, it was funny when we were testing that. Some of our techniques to test durability are barbarian, if you will. We've come up with a few unique ones, but
you mean you have a few barbarians to hit these?
That helps, but with the FuseFit, we actually broke several shafts, graphite and steel included, before we could get an adapter to failure.
Yeah.
We basically took that and pounded it against a range mat when it was fully assembled, and tried to get the adapter to break, and what ended up happening is we had a steel shaft break up in this area.
Yeah.
So
I always love it when a golfer comes to me and he says, "It broke." and I talked to one of the shaft manufacturers, and he goes, "They don't break."
Yeah, they don't. Although they could if they're.
I'm talking about the shafts.
A lot of times people hit it on the shaft, as you know, and it's because they need to be fitted properly for us. But no, you're right. They don't break. And even with our products, some of our early stuff, again, you learn as you go. And we were so new back in 2004 to this concept. We actually launched at the same time as Burroughs Golf, which was Matt Golf. We were the two companies here at the show that had anything adjustable, and as you know now, pretty well everything is.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother story in its own. But no, we're definitely excited to have the relationship that we do with people like yourself and a lot of the top club fitters across the world. And really, I think a big thing that I'd like to key on briefly is that our relationship initially when we started the company was distribution, and then we had a disconnect, because when it would ship from a lot of our distributors now that we maintain are very good about offering technical advice, and they really understand the product, but some of the larger ones that we worked with initially did not. And since we started to work with more guys like yourself directly, it's helped us drive better products. Whether the feedback initially was good or bad, when you understand what people need on a day-to-day basis to make their life easier, it really helps us go back to the drawing board and essentially come up with better products. So
if I'm looking for these, I go directly to your website, which is
clubconex.com.
clubconex.com, and you have a store there.
Yeah.
So you just order them online, basically, from the online catalog.
Yes, that's exactly right.
And go for it. And I'll say it again. This is the product of the year.
I appreciate you saying that, Russ. We heard that a lot. The individuals that have been by our booth thus far, a lot of faces that we're familiar with, a lot of new ones are super excited about the product. We are as well. I think it's going to be a smash hit. We're working with the USGA now to try to get the product to be deemed conforming, and then we will submit it to the RNA there afterwards. And the cool thing will be is, as an avid golfer or a fitter, the ability to send a plurality of different fitting configurations outside your shop to an avid golfer, we think is going to be really cool. So guys like me that like to tinker, that I didn't hit it very well.
I got started in this business because I was a tinkerer.
Exactly, I did as well. And sometimes, just like we spoke of earlier, if you want something done right, you have to do it yourself. And at points in time, it might lead all back to the fitter, because I think when we give the consumer this many options, it could be confusing, but we definitely know it's going to help fitters.
Yeah, well, I know you're hot. You need to get back down to the show floor. So, Eric, thanks for spending time with us.
Oh, Russ, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it, and thanks for all your support. And you've given this thing your approval, which means a lot to us, and we'll hopefully keep on going. I have a hard time knowing where we go from here, because in my feeling, this UniFit is the Picasso, if you will, of Club Conex, and I don't know how we improve upon it. We just keep adding pieces as they come out.
Yeah. Well, this is Russ for DevotedGolfer.tv with Eric Burch, Club Conex. I get it. Did I pronounce it right?
That's correct. Club Conex, yes.
Club Conex. Thanks for spending your time with us.
Thank you.